Welcome, friends. The last couple years have been an intense course in red pillology. They have been some of the deepest, most introspective of my life. You see, I have had innumerable experiences in my life of being devalued because I was born with a certain genetic deficiency, a Y chromosome. So I went through hell because of this. Yet only in the last couple years have I been able to mate experience with enlightened contemplation. So what is the difference? What suddenly caused clarity and brought reason to rhyme? What is the key to my red pill awakening? What brought theory to observable experiment? Abstinence from females, plain and simple. Not a couple weeks or a few months, but years. You have to remove yourself from your crutch to gain the fabled hindsight. You can't fix the flat tire while you are sitting in the driver's seat next to the heater and radio. You have to get out into the blowing snow to do anything about it. Likewise, removing yourself from sexual relations with females enough to get a neutral point of observation over the effects that females and gynocentrism induces upon other males. This is all you need to realize that the sexuality females peddle is not worth your time or effort. Sex really is overrated. I never thought I would espouse abstinence. Sex and the exchange therein was the holy grail to me most of my life. Sex is the foundational reason I detest organized religion, because religion tries to legislate sexuality and shame people into regression of an act that is wondrous and natural. Oh, and it feels kind of good too. I still have a keen interest in sex, sexuality, sensuality, and various forms of kink that humans indulge in. Not from an arousal point of view, but rather a curiosity for what humans indulge in and the complete animals they relinquish themselves to. Moreover, I like the imagination behind some people's interests. I figure anything is game between consenting adults. Besides that, a loving God would not have created sexual pleasure only to legislate it through a robed or suited old white dude for the purposes of entrapping humans into punishment if they indulged in certain acts with certain people at certain times. So because of my interest in sex and religion's suppression of it, this caused me to reject the brainwashing of dogmatic religions. And I thank God for that, because religion is just as BS as female altruism and benevolence. Yet even though I have keen interest in pleasure, I came to realize that sexual relations with females is the method by which males sign their death warrants. Sex is the method by which males subjugate themselves, their labor, their very lives, to females who do not care about their tender feelings or romantic sentiments. Well then, do I continue to pursue sex and be an accomplice, a co-conspirator in male devaluation and disposal? Or do I stop elevating and chasing vagina and tear up the death warrant that sex with females necessarily compels? I love sex and pleasure, but I see that it causes so much suffering and continues the male bloodshed and expendability that I rail against with vehemence. What do? If I wanted sex to cause pain, I'd embark upon an imaginative S&M session. Thus, I am either part of the problem or part of the solution. By chasing and placating, by pandering and doing anything to solicit sex from females, I essentially contribute to and sanction male disposability, which I do not. You can still have sex without contributing to male disposability if females come to you and offer you sex, after which you quickly dispatch them upon act completion, meaning as soon as rocks are off, they get out the door. There is no cuddling, no post-coital sway on her part while you are still enamored with your love chemicals flowing through your body. But how many males really get this treatment of females offering themselves and then leaving as soon as they're done? Rock stars and movie stars notwithstanding. Amidst epiphany, I realized the solution. The bearers of wizard sleeves are the executioners of males, whether unknowingly or indirectly or with conscious, premeditated impunity. Thus, I stopped chasing vagina and sexual interactions with females, and since I'm not gay, I essentially assumed abstinence, while trying not to think of celibacy as celibacy. I pretended to myself that it was only a temporary condition until I find a unicorn. I have observed the reality of females and the sex they peddle and male servitude of it with amazing clarity. That is why now, me, Mr. Anything Sex, espouses abstinence from sexual interactions with females. Not because sex is bad or physical pleasure is sinful, but because the way it is currently practiced, it hurts males and lowers their worth to that of disposable shovels, Kleenexes, to be used and thrown away. This is unacceptable. Some ideals are more important than chasing a couple seconds of fun. Rising up against male abuse and disposability is one of them. I encourage abstinence of sexual interaction with females as the quickest, most immediate remedy to male subjugation to female slave masters. I don't condemn sexual pleasure. I simply realize sexual solicitation by males to females causes all the problems of male devaluation. Still, masturbation is the same as abstinence. I know masturbation is a pale equivalent to sex, like settling for a glass of room temperature water after knowing the taste of a creamy milkshake. However, when you understand the torment and torture you have to go through for a little sip of milkshake, you will get down on your knees and thank the universe for that blessed, beautiful glass of pure water. At least you are free and empowered as you drink the water. The rest of the gender slaves their lives away paying for the few drops of milkshake they were allowed, after which it's all honeydews and go to work. And no more toys or friends or money or vitality. It's pretty much support an individual female or the collective through taxes and service, chivalry, and then you die. That is the cost of milkshakes. I cannot overemphasize the importance of abstinence. It's the difference between red pill liberation and purple pill purgatory. Actually, sexual relinquishment really wasn't that hard at all. Once I made male empowerment and liberation a priority, rejection of the meat grinder, sexuality with females, was an organic eventuality. In fact, I began this new virginity even as I was stripping, and females were offering me vagina everywhere I turned. Instead, I decided to manipulate and twist them with sex, the same sex they usurp male utility with. That indeed was the true test, rejecting sex that chased me and offered itself to me. However, I saw myself as a warrior, an avenger for males against the vaginisty. More on that in another video. Anyhow, as the years passed, I came to take pride in my born-again status. I am a MGTOW practicing what I preach. I walk the walk of what I espouse other men to embrace. I'm sure you're curious. Let's just say that the last time I had sexual contact with a female, George W. was still in office. In fact, the last time I kissed any female was during W's reign, and I am still young. Yes, after a half-dozen years or so, I can embrace a born-again virginity status as an accurate title rather than somebody who has a couple weeks or a few months dry spell under their belts. Despite all the shaming tactics of the gynocentric drones, I take fierce pride in my abstinence, such as an alcoholic will boast of the time they have remained alcohol-free. Moreover, it means so much more to me than simple exemption from male disposability. This newfound virginity is a huge middle finger to gynocentrism and the vaginisty. It is me striking a blow for abused, suffering males everywhere, and it is the clarity I needed to finally rail against male disposability. Most males lament dry spells and eagerly look forward to their next peace. Meanwhile, they beat themselves and their worth into the ground in between vaginas. They are nothing without the physical affirmation or validation of a lubricated vagina. Yet the longer I abstained, the more pride I found. Then, amazingly, I found myself valuing my sexuality more than merely wasting myself on cheap, insincere female-assisted ejaculations. I entered the final stages of purple pill desperation, thinking I would save this newfound virginity for some special unicorn who was worthy of this gift and could be trusted with such tender feelings as those within my heart. Oh, believe me, I ran the gamut from foreign females to conservative to aesthetically unconventional looking females searching for the Easter Bunny. However, at the end of the day, I found all females to be female, gynocentric, self-advancing, in-gender preferenced parasites incapable of soul affection reciprocation. That was the final awakening, that there was no female out there worthy of my rebooted virginity. Hence, I embraced the preciousness of my sex and the reality that no female is worthy of it, nor the tender feelings I attach to it. Now I value my new virginity more than any momentary weakness with any hot girl. No female could meet the criteria in order for me to share myself with them physically. Yeah, I may sound crazy and nonsensical talking about valuing my sexuality, but more males need to see their sexuality as special, not to be wasted on malevolent vultures that only want your utility, not your tender emotions, nor your disgusting man juice on their stomach. Furthermore, I am so sick of all the mockery of ejaculation and ejaculate that I wouldn't waste any of those on a female. In fact, the last few sexual encounters I did have, I refused to ejaculate for any female. After observing the overwhelming amounts of slander and disgust expressed over ejaculation and the act of it, I was not going to provide them with any further fodder at my expense. Gentlemen, if you are still having sex with females, refuse to ejaculate around them. It will drive them crazy and give you the upper hand, since they use your ejaculation as a roadmap. Okay, you came. Good. Now I can stop pretending to like your hairy, smelly body on top of me and your primal thrusting. Now, you have a list of chores to do. Get 'em done. Oh, I could absolutely go out and get any female I wanted, because I understand them, their motivations and drives. I know more than pickup artists do, and if I wanted sex, I could have it. I choose not to. I choose water over milkshake. I choose to starve the vaginity of my magnificence and help males heal rather than contribute to their wounds. I have higher purpose. I am an angel, but I do not profess perfection. I do not say that I don't look at porn occasionally, or that I will never have sex again. Yet, in retrospect, I have found I have had more intellectual expansion during my abstinence than the entirety of time preceding this, when I chased the sexual grail and the female lure around the track. I can easily understand how genius is encouraged by sexual eschewment. Da Vinci, Pythagoras, even Freud, while married, practiced celibacy, and I can finally behold the wisdom in that. I have had deeper, more profound musings and introspections during the past few years of sexual revocation than in all the time I was a blue pillar chasing female approval and validation, hoping for salvation from my cursed state as a male. No, it's not coincidence that the world-shaking, paradigm-shifting brilliance has come through MGTOWs throughout history. It's not that sex is detrimental. Indeed, it has positive health-affirming benefits on the mind and body, in moderation. The problem arises with males. They cannot seem to keep emotion out of the mechanical actions of procreation. Males turn a few seconds of a good time into a mortgage and hungry mouths to feed by slaving away at a soul-crushing job. Males become addicts and devote their energy and channel their creativity into thinking about and chasing sex. So either nurture your brilliance and seek liberation from gynocentrism, or you serve the vaginity, pandering and placating and prostrating yourself before females to get your 5 seconds of milkshake and a pat on the head that you are a good boy. So do not pity me. My rebooted virginity is a point of pride. In fact, I pity those still chasing sex. Furthermore, my virginity reborn is a huge middle finger at the vaginisty. Guess what? You have nothing I need. Game over. If I had my way, all males would voluntarily reject sexual relations with females. Sex subjugates males to gynocentric servitude. Sex is an impediment to male power and brilliance. I will wait until virtual reality is perfected. Then I will unleash my freak. It's time to rise above basal instincts and desires, lest we destroy ourselves and be doomed to repeat history. We have split the atom, for crying out loud. It's time to live from our frontal lobe, not our lizard brain. We cannot afford to react from our reptilian programming. We have too many dangerous toys to simply act ignorantly and throw temper tantrums, or merely chase sex and feed male disposability because we are not disciplined enough to control our thoughts or actions. I am proud of my newfound virginity. If nothing else, it demonstrates that one male was strong enough to reject male disposability, and though it may have no effect on the mass populace, it demonstrates that one male made a stand against male devaluation, and that gives me honor on behalf of abused and discarded males throughout history. I am a born-again virgin, and I am stronger than ever. My brothers, my friends, stand with me. Live free.